we shall get our freedom and that we shall have a just society.
Winifred Madikizela Mandela, popularly called Winnie Mandela, was an international symbol of political activism and resistance to apartheid. Since her marriage to late Nelson Mandela, Winnie was vehemently affront to apartheid in spite of torture, harassment and imprisonment, even as in 13 years she lived for only 10 months without a banning order. While her estranged husband Nelson Mandela was away in prison, Winnie was not daunted. She rather multitasked and kept the political activism aflame.
It was through her that the world heard about their conditions in Robben Island, and she carried the struggle after the Rivonia trialists had been sentenced and imprisoned in Robben Island.
Apart from just being the normal woman politician, now this is a politician with a vision, a politician with an ideology. And you know, the ideology of the ANC was quite driven, you know, for the attainment of the liberation, you know, of South Africa.
She made sure that 27 years later, Nelson Mandela was on everybody's lips and on everybody's mind, and the fight against apartheid was carried on relentlessly by herself.
Her legacy as an anti-apartheid heroine during the 1976 Soweto uprising earned her the honor Mother of New South Africa. As a young lady, Winnie was a rallying point for the poor and oppressed South Africans searching for freedom. Her political power stemmed from her ability to relate the pains and anguish of the black population under the apartheid regime to her personal experiences.
She symbolized for South African people, and especially the women, someone who stood for a just cause. And she gave her life to that movement.
Women are finding their place in the scheme of things in South Africa because she emancipated them mentally, psychologically, politically, and socially.
She built a bridge between different political factions in the early 90s when Nelson Mandela urged armed youths to give up violent strategies. Winnie and the then leader of the South African Communist Party, Chris Hani, were platforms for support for their actions. A stalwart of the African National Congress, ANC, Winnie Mandela is widely described as an example for resilience of women politicians in Africa.
Every woman that is in politics should be able to rise up to that standard where you can fight for your people, where you can fight for what you believe. Despite of who is in power, you still have a way of communicating and passing your opinion across in order to better the society, the nation, and give lives a very good meaning.
Winnie Mandela impacted her generation. I don't think there would be anyone who would not acknowledge that she, notwithstanding the personal tribulation and sacrifice, she remained loyal to the cause.
Winnie Mandela was not without some negatives which dented her image. In 1991, she was convicted for kidnap and assault. In 2003, it was that of fraud and theft in connection to a bank loan scandal. Born in 1936, married in 1958, blessed with 2 children, Winnie Mandela remains an icon by records. Her legacies ultimately will outlive her. But reactions across board suggest that it needs to be filled, or better still, replaced. That remains a challenge for women in Africa. The Nigerian woman can be a good replacement. I'm just guessing. Uche, Nwizu, NTA News.